Hey folks, my name is Jeremy Ortiz and I'm going to be making a video today on using Dynamesh to make a boolean and have an exact duplicate of that boolean to fill in the negative space. Doing this because I need to be able to make basically an insert plug for what will eventually be a 3D print, and I need that particular part to be exactly the same size, shape, and location as the mesh extraction. So where do we start? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I have this lizard guy and I have this hip location. Now this hip location is where I'm going to be mounting the legs and eventually making a Dynamesh merge to have two legs that are attached to this piece, and this piece will be able to be removed and inserted when it's printed. So, if you've used Dynamesh before, you know A, it's awesome, and B, you can use these brushes called insert brushes. And what the insert brushes allow you to do is either insert or subtract any piece of geometry that you want. They have a whole bunch, insert ear, insert hand, all these guys that come with the program. And what we want to do is be able to make an insert brush of this hip piece, which I will solo out, so that we have this exact shape be extracted from the main body of our model. So what am I going to do? First off, I've learned the hard way that an insert mesh brush doesn't work really well if it is a Dynamesh. So our hip, what will eventually be our hip brush, I want to have it exactly where I want it because I'm going to be using that as a reference, and I want it to be just a regular mesh, not a Dynamesh. And for this, I don't even need it to be a Dynamesh because it's going to have this geometry and other stuff's going to be slapped onto it anyway. So all I'm going to do is delete lower because you cannot make an insert brush with a piece of geometry that has multiple subdivision levels. So now we have our hip. Now I'm going to clone it, and with the clone, I'm going to rename the clone to hip brush just so I don't get confused later on. So now I'm going to go back to the part that I want to do the extraction from. So I'm going to hit Alt and select so I have the main body selected. Then I'm going to go to brush, insert, and I already have the lip selected. And then you have to go to your brush menu. Mine's docked on the side over here. And you're going to go to modifiers. Under modifiers, you'll see this lip icon, which is the original mesh that's being used for the insert. You just click on that and then it'll give you your little quick pick menu here, and we've made hip brush out of our clone. We'll pick that. So now this will be the object that will either be inserted or extracted from the mesh depending on how we choose to use it. So now I've already clicked on here, it's going to mask off. We want to undo that. So now that I have this selected, we have to orient it so that it matches up with the original hip location. Now this is what you'd have to do under normal circumstances. So I'm going to hit transparent just so these pieces are transparent and I can align them. You hold Alt and then click on the surface of what you want to do the extraction from. Alt creates the extraction. Now what you can also do is hold Shift, and this will force the proportions of the object. So now I'm just putting it anywhere. Oh, see this? This is the problem. I don't want two of them. So I'm going to hit Control Z and make sure I have my X off. So let's go back to Shift. Well, that doesn't really matter. Alt, with my mesh insert selected, I'm hitting Alt and dragging out. Then I'm going to hit Shift to make sure it's the right size and proportion, and then release. Now, once this is done, you can go to your Move, Rotate, and Scale to get it into the position you want. So right now I'm on Move. I'm just getting it into a location, jumping over to Rotate so that I can get it roughly where I want it. If you don't know how to use the transpose line, I really suggest you get good with it because it's awesome. but seriously, it is awesome. Now, as you can see, I have to fiddle and get this thing to be where I want it, and it's basically a pain in the butt because you just have to eyeball it, and that's not good. I hope that in future they will, and by they I mean the awesome people at Pixelogic, will make it so that you don't have to do this and it'll just pick the mesh up and have its original location. But again, this is a workaround, so here we go. So now I have this roughly where it should be, and I want it a little bit more accurate. As you can see, I'm using the ghosted image to get my alignment. And so that looks pretty good. Looks like it gets scaled up a little bit, or maybe shifted over to one side a little bit more. So let's try that. I've got my move, holding that shift. As you can see, it's a pain in the butt. It looks like I need to scale it just a hair. And I'll move this up. I'm using shift to snap the action line. And that looks like where I want it. Okay, so now, right now it's in extraction mode. What you would normally do is hold down your control as if you were masking, and then click outside and drag, and click outside and drag, and that'll create your extraction. There's two things you can do. One is you can hit duplicate, and it'll duplicate this mesh inside your subtool palette. That can get a little messy, so the other option is hitting clone. So if you hit clone now, you have this object here, which is the extraction mesh and your body that you're going to do the extraction from. All you have to do is hit group split, undoable operation, yeah, we know. And now we have this object here. Why is that important? This is an exact copy of the extraction you're about to do. So now let's jump back to our extraction. As I said, this is the extraction. All we have to do is hit control drag again, and boom, we have an extraction. As you can see the ghosted image there. So let's turn off transparency. It's not right. You see how it's not exactly the same size as your original? We probably could work on that, but let's go to solo so you can see what it looks like. There's our soloed object. So now all we have to do is take off solo. We'll hide this hip, go back to our extracted piece, and then hit append, and then go to this body merge, and bam, you have an exact piece that fits the extraction that you made. And now you can Dynamesh this piece and do whatever you need to, mask it off if necessary, and then oh, I don't know what the hell I just did. I just hid everything. And you have your part that you need. A couple of things that I ran into, and that is if the mesh brush object that you use for the mesh brush is used as a Dynamesh, it does an AND, which is the middle piece, instead of either doing a union or a subtraction. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, keep it as a non-Dynamesh piece and you should be in business. So there's my tutorial. I hope this helps somebody. I find it useful. So there you go. Thanks. Take care, guys. Good luck.